Welcome everyone. Let's move to the next part of the session. Now we are getting ready for the keynote speech. For that, we have Professor Rangika Halwathura, who is currently serving as the professor in civil engineering in University of Moratuwa, and who is also chartered engineer by profession. He is honored with many respected awards for the researchers and contribution. He owns 14 patents and also he is the youngest professor in civil engineering in Sri Lanka. Sir, it's your time to address the gathering.
Thank you. Thanks for the nice small introduction. I am always love to see a quick short introduction about myself, and I really thank. I mean, that's what I was expecting. I was telling the organizers, please don't introduce me with a lot of facts because we will keep that time for the presentation. So once again, thank you for the introduction and doing a small introduction, and very much importantly, as IESL, if you say that I'm still the youngest civil engineering professor in the system in engineering, I'm so proud and so happy to hear that. So. And also, I think I mean I have attended a lot of keynotes and speeches here and there, but it's always a prestige and a pleasure for me to address my own profession, engineer. So once I mean I'm so happy and then thank you, thanks the organizing committee for inviting me this particular event and address the youth. Young engineers of the country, because I always give that particular respect to the next generation. I mean, you are the future of the country, so you have huge responsibility on your shoulders. One as an engineer, one as I mean, in the other way as a citizen of this beautiful, blessed country. Not the best, but the blessed country in the world. So. So in that context, I think I have my duty to share my experience and the knowledge which I have gathered within this 43 years of my career as a human of this particular beautiful country. So I mean I'm not that linked with IESL activities. I was little distance from IESL because I felt I was telling this before as well. I felt IESL is having a lot of I mean politics inside, so I wanted to be away from that, but I feel as the next generation you have a big role to put them all together and work toward the success of this particular beautiful country. Engineers are the engineering or the jewel of any country, but unfortunately Sri Lanka, we are not doing that great. I have seen a lot of other professions trying, at least they are united and trying to do something, but unfortunately engineers, we are divided here and there. Maybe we are divided based on the profession. Maybe the civil engineers are distant from electrical and civil distant from mechanical. So we have internal division, and at the same time, once we go to the professional associations, that again there are a lot of divisions. So I kindly request the youth or young engineers of the country, please be united. You have a bigger role to do for this country. Whether you are from Moratuwa, whether you are from Peradeniya, or whether you are from a different university, everybody, I think at least one single day you were toured by the taxpayers' money, and you are enjoying all the benefits of these taxpayers' money. The taxpayers are not the rich people, but the poor people. The rich people always they escape from the taxing and they do all the bullshit in the country. But the poor people, you are fed and lifted up to this particular level by the poor taxpayers' money. I think you have a bigger role to pay them back. So I kind of request, I mean, before I start my presentation, I kind of request all of you to get united, and you have to have your own political agenda. I mean, not the party politics, but you should have to have one political agenda, that is to see this beautiful, blessed country is a developed country before you and I die. So it's over to you. I have done a few things. I mean, I'm so happy and proud being a Sri Lankan and being a product of Sri Lankan university and being a civil engineer. I think I'm trying my level best to do the justice. So that's a different story. So I will share my experiences. I decided to talk about and talked about the sustainability and innovation for sustainability. So that's my topic. So that's what I'm going to discuss with you today. And more than all, I'm so happy to see a big audience. Very recently, I had first ever discussion with my University of Moratu people. I didn't get this much of audience. That was a bad day. It was raining, lightning. So that's what the organizers said. But I'm so happy to see a big audience today, more than 250. So I think that's again a big success story from the organizers end. I think you need to keep this morale up, and you should keep doing continue this good work. So my topic today is invention for sustainability. So that's what I'm going to talk with you today. In that particular context, I thought I always love to take this slide for my presentations. One beautiful place I usually happen to visit as a civil engineer, as a citizen, as a person who loves to be with sustainability, as a person who loves to be with natural material. So this is one big place in my life in Sri Lanka, not from another different country. It's a burial site from a very with a very old history. This has more than 2,700 years history. And if I elaborate a little on this location, I said I'm a civil engineer, and I really love to play with clay and mud. I mean, don't take the bad side of it. I mean, I didn't say that I love to play with mud. That it's not the mud slugging, but I'm a person who love to work with mud. I will show you some of the practical solutions which I developed with mud later. But this particular location, if I tell you the real sense of this particular location, this is a burial site, and it's close to it's in Ibbankadu. Ibbankadu is between Dambulla and Kurunegala. Anybody who's traveling passing Dambulla, if you are going to Sigiri, if you are going to Dambulla, if you are going to Polonnaru from Colombo, if you are going to Trinco from Colombo, so you definitely have passed this place because this is in the same same main road of Kurunegala to Dambulla, very close to Dambulla. So this location has a real big history, and there are a lot for us to learn as civil engineers and as humans from this particular place. Let me tell you what is this particular location. Please, I mean, if any civil engineer who wants to study about engineering history, please, not even engineering history, to find the real roots of life. This is very good, very interesting place for you to go and visit. So this location, if you closely see your left hand side, okay, before going to the left hand side image, if I elaborate the location, what they did was, I mean, it's a burial site. So if there's a dead body in that particular civilization, what they did was they took the dead body, they burn it, they converted the body to ash, and put the ash into a big pot. It's about 2 to 2.5 big pot, and they put the ash to the pot, and they place the ash pot, this big pot, between two stone plants, and covered the top with the stone slab once again, and it was there intact for more than 2,700 years as a dry coffin. So that is how they made this particular thing. So you may wonder what I'm trying to tell about this thing, because that doesn't have any sort of engineering. That doesn't have any sort of link with my topic. Yes, but for me, there are a lot of things which I can pick and link that with the topic and with I'm going to talk today. Number one, it's about the strong socio-cultural aspect. I mean, if you can recall the era, this particular time period, you go to your Pansipanas Jataka, each and every Jataka Katha, if someone dies, this is actually before Lord Buddha and before Jesus Christ is even. So if someone dies, what they did was in India, they wrapped the body with old clothes and just thrown that to the jungle where the animals came and ate the body. So that is how the Indians respected to a dead person in the same era, or even after this particular era. But the people who lived in this particular blessed country, they took the body, they knew how to pay their last respect to the dead person, or the person who died. They burn it, they converted the body into ash, and like what we do today, they put the ash into this particular big pot. If you and create this structure like what you can see from your left, and the center image, that is the size of the pot, and that is the shape of the pot which they have made 2700 years ago or even before. So you can see the shape, it's very symmetrical. And if I know you can't check the thickness of these pots, it's 10 to 15 millimeters. So just imagine, as a civil engineer or as an engineer who knows about the technology, who knows about the clay manufacturing process, maybe the chemical and material engineers, they know how sensitive the soil selection is. Mechanical engineers, they know how sensitive is to get the symmetricity and so on. I mean, you can plug your own engineering discipline to this particular clay pot. So definitely for them to create this particular clay pot, it's not like the Vespa bee who get the clay lumps and put them there and create the clay pot. You can't do a clay pot like this with that technology. If you are to do that, definitely you should know one single thing, that is the centrifugal force. So the circular motion. So when you have the circular motion only, you will be able to create this structure in this particular symmetricity at a small thickness. So they knew the wheel 2700 years ago, and they have converted the wheel to a nice innovation, that is Sakapuru. The Sakapuru was definitely have existed 2700 years ago in this particular blessed country. And beyond that, if you think about the selection of the material, the chemical material, even civil, I mean, anybody who may have played with clay in your childhood, they know that, you can't create clay pots with every soil, with every clay. So you need to get the correct clay for this particular application. So they knew, I mean, they never went to a university, they never went to a school, they never had the access of the online material, but they knew how to pick the correct material that is from the nature. So they learned from the nature. Maybe they have seen different types of soils at different locations, and the percentage of elongation, how they respond to the temperature, how they respond to other natural disasters is really changing based on the location of the soil, and that inspired them to get the correct material. That is about the material selection. Beyond that, the stabilization of soil. I mean, if you made a pot, I mean, with whatever the soil, if you just keep it outside within one cycle of the weather, that will be washed out, because the clay is I mean, always absorb water, and it will be dissolved. But these people, they knew they can stabilize the soil, that they didn't have cement, they didn't have any other material, but they knew they can stabilize this particular clay pot by burning. So the burning, they never knew about making a chimney and burning the clay pot inside, but they knew by changing the temperature of the material, you can change the properties. I don't know how they got that particular information, because they haven't had the university education. They haven't had internet for them to go and browse this particular knowledge. But I'm very sure they one day the co-father of a co-father found there was a bushfire somewhere, and that soil, the properties of that particular soil differs from their garden. So that's help them to understand by changing the properties of the clay, they can they can use the fire. So I mean, that may be the way they started learning this. So there are a lot of things for you to understand. I mean, today, let's say, just imagine a person died on the road. You will not do much other than taking your mobile phone and go for live streaming, because we lost the humanity. We never worried. I mean, I still can remember a cat or a dog was hit by a vehicle. I mean, there were people, including myself, will suffer for months or years. Whenever we pass that particular location, oh shit! I mean, I was the cat was hit by myself. That comes to my mind. I haven't had that particular experience, but I can imagine what is going to happen, because I never hit a dog or a cat on the road. I'm so careful with that. But I mean, that was the life. But today, you have seen people were cut into pieces on the road. We are not doing anything other than taking your mobile phone and capturing that image, because we lost that particular humanity. But these people, they knew how to respect a dead body even. So you can see how much we can learn from this particular small location. As an engineer, I mean, with all the disciplines, mechanical, material, civil, chemical, you bring any engineering profession, that's something for you to understand from this particular location. So from that, if I just glance you some of the slides, some of the things from the history, you think about the construction. I mean, it's amazing. You will not be able to, even sometimes you will not be able to match these constructions with today's world, because you say you are sustainable, you say you are green, and or you claim you are, but you are, it's not the next generation who comes and say that, you know, your forefathers are green and sustainable. They can't say that. The reason is we have destroyed their decision making power by doing all this construction. Let me take a small example about the construction. You do sky rises, you do multi-story buildings. For the next generation, you are targeting the next generation. You believe, you assume that the next generation is going to live in a flat, lives in a apartment, and you create structures which will last more than 200, 300 years with concrete and all these non-renewable artificial material. So how can you ensure, how can you say that you're sustainable? Because these constructions will last more than 2-3 decades, and not even that. I mean, these will last for more than 2-3 generations, and those generations will definitely one day suffer, because they will not be able to create their life to match their satisfaction. I mean, that is what the sustainability says. I mean, sustainability, they will never request you to, or rather, they will never, the sustainability concept will never force you to go back to the cave age and have some leaves around you and live in a jungle. No, that is not the sustainability. Sustainability says you have your life, you enjoy your life to the maximum, but make sure don't ever compromise the ability of the next generation. But within that particular sustainability concept, within that sustainability definition, you just think what you are exactly doing. But these people, they're really sustainable. They got the natural contour, they got the natural material. By doing the minimum harm to the nature, they created these marvelous structures. And still today, we go and experience these beautiful places. So from the construction to the agriculture, this is very hot topic these days, because we were convinced that we can't self-sustain by these foolish politicians, right? I'm sorry to say that. We were convinced by these foolish politicians for 70 years, saying that Sri Lanka cannot be self-sustained. But the history says you were self-sustained. I mean, one can say that there were about 100, 200 people living in this Anuradhapura Polonnaru era. I mean, they have gone to the jungle, ate something, and lived and died. Can you imagine, or can we believe there were only 100, 200 people? I can't believe. I mean, there should be millions of people. But they knew one important fact more than what we know today. That is, they knew that they are going to die one day. So they did the minimum harm to the nature. They did the minimum harm to the nature, and they lived happily. They get the maximum productive out of the small space they have used, and they live and die happily, letting us to enjoy the life. But just imagine what you are doing. You are convinced by these fools saying you can't be self-sustained, but you have enough examples from the history to say that we can be self-sustained. That is about the agriculture. We'll move to the medicine. I mean, we depend on the Western medicine today, but we had our own medicine medical setup. Those are proven, and some of these things are still existing. You take about, it's not about the Ayurvedic medicine which came from India. That's a different story. But the Halwathura, even today, there are a lot of hidden this Veda Mahatyas living in this country, which are blessed with a lot of these ancient technologies, but they were not even tested. But those are really working. Not the miracles. I'm not really talking about the miracles, but the medicine which was developed with the science, not the science which you and I knows there today, but there was a science, a natural science behind all these medical setup. I can bring examples, but I think this is not the right time for me to bring these examples. But there are a lot. You go and study about the Rasavedakamam, you can see how they converted these material like mercury, which is really hazardous, to a useful medicine using nanotechnology. I mean, nanotechnology was not known to these people, but they knew how to convert a harmful material to a useful drug. So you can go and study all these things. I just giving you some hints. From there, if I move to the modern day, the modern world today, and the model science, I give me a second. I think I missed to share the sounds. Right. Let me move to the modern the world today and the modern science. I mean, you are amazed. You will think, what exactly you need to develop in this particular the world now, because everything is there. Starting from the technology. I mean, you think about the technology, you will not be able to find a single profession which you can't find inside this mobile phone. All doctors, engineers, architects, everybody, they are inside the phone. If you want to do a world-class degree or a MSc or a PhD, they are inside the mobile phone. So everything is inside this smart piece of work. And you think of any technology, you can see that all are developed to the topmost level. Agriculture, I mean, I can't remember a small incident. I mean, planting a tree without soil, even a water plant. I mean, we use clay. Put a clay, get a clay pot, put the clay, and you planted the water plant. But today, most of these agriculture were converted to the hydroponic, no soil, and you add a little bit of fish there. We call it is aquaponic, and from there you have 7.8 billion of population. I don't know how many of them are surviving after COVID, but still we believe that 7.8 billion every day the population is going up. Sri Lanka, it's different, because Sri Lanka is still live with COVID, but the rest of the world, they adapt with the COVID, and they are living with COVID, and they are doing well. But Sri Lanka, we are fully scared with COVID, and we're trying to forget all other problems thanks to COVID. That's a different story. 7.8 billion population. Yes, you need more food. People have created creatures with more food, more meat. From there, let me take another small example from the agriculture, the food. You may have seen. I'm very sure you know about the broiler chicken industry. It's a big, huge industry in Sri Lanka. Very recently only, I also realized the value of chicken industry, because I mean, these days we don't have fertilizer. So for farming, we use chicken litter from broiler chicken to the layers. So the layers, you won't believe the liter of 1 kilo of liter of a layer. Now it is more than 15 rupees. 15 rupees for 1 kilo of liter from the chicken industry. So that was a waste, and the producers or the farmers who make this the chicken, they had to pay people to destroy them 1 year ago. But today we pay 15 rupees, more than 15 rupees for 1 kilo to get the litter to our land for farming. So broiler chicken has a big industry. It's like the coconut tree. I mean, coconut tree, those days we learned there's nothing waste can be wasted because everything can be used. Like in the chicken industry, broiler chicken industry and the layer chicken industry, those egg layers, there's nothing like waste. Everything will be recycled. Some will be recycled, some will be sold then and there. So the chicken industry is now at a very peak level in Sri Lanka, not like in China and all these people who big use of chicken, but Sri Lanka has a big market and it's really profitable these days. I know as Buddhist we don't like this, but I mean that is the world, that is the future of the country. I mean, if the things are changing, you also have to adapt with the situation. But anyway, that is not what I'm going to talk to you today. The broiler chicken industry, I mean, when I was a kid, the broiler chicken industry says it's 48 days. 48 days you cut and you the chicken was sent to your plate. That is my childhood. But today you won't believe the chicken industry, from this size of a chicken, the egg, to a 2.5 kilos or 5 pounds of a meat bowl, that will take only 16 days. That creature can't even think of dying. That will be killed and sent to your table. So the world is that much advanced, and you can't imagine what is really happening in the world. And this particular chicken, you can the cock is much more advanced than what I took before. The chicken industry, the biggest problem is keeping the chicken, this particular meat bowl, healthy for this small duration period of time, and then how to clean the meat bowl, how to take the feathers out. So they have created a creature without feathers now. So amazing. So everything will be there under the sun. I mean, anything you believe, it is there. Anything you dream, that will be there in the next day. About the medicine, I was talking about Halwathura and Ayurvedic Vedakama in a nutshell. But you think of a disease today, the next day you will find the drug as well. And sometimes, I mean, you take COVID. I mean, we were so scared in 2020, not in late 2019, that we never worried about COVID. I mean, we let it. I mean, we were so fascinated to say that, you know, we will not get COVID as a country. Then 2020, we all were at a dying mode. We all were, you know, thinking that will be the end of our story. But today you have a lot of choices. I mean, a lot of vaccines are available. Now you have a choice to get, see which vaccine you are going to get. So the world is that much advanced. Sometimes the countries like Sri Lanka, especially Sri Lanka, you will get the drug. The next, I mean, then only they will realize the disease is not there. The next plane, you will get the disease as well. So we are much more fortunate with all the aspects. And this is a blessed country because there are a lot of vacuums for you to go and try, starting from the country politics, country big top position, from the president level to the very bottom level. There's a big vacuum for you to go and try. There are a lot of opportunities. That's why I always said it's a blessed country. So from this, if I move to another interesting topic, that is artificial intelligence. Otherwise, I'm doing the real injustice. These IEEE people who are with IESL. I mean,
Okay, Sophia.
I mean, when I think about my childhood, I have seen films with artificial intelligence. I never knew about the artificial intelligence, but I have seen dramas. I have seen films where the robots are controlling.
I feel as if I know you.
But today,
one of your creators.
the real success story, because we got the robots.
Many of us work together to
robots got the citizenship from this particular world. Saudi Arabia, they offered citizenship to Sophia.
Really
Sophia is an artificially created
because the last time we met,
robot,
you were an earlier version of
human.
yourself.
You can see
some of those memories still exist.
You can just imagine yourself. Sometimes you can't. You still expressing your emotions. You need to definitely get WhatsApp and send emoji, because you can't. You don't know how to express your feelings with your words and with your face. So that's why you need to have the emojis. So that's why the emojis are developed by these the IT people.
Question.
But just imagine. I mean, just look at the Sophia's face and see how she expressed her feelings. So amazing. We were dreaming certain things. And today,
we have
all
a
these
little
things
announcement. I've never
have
interviewed
come to a
anybody
real
like that before, and I
reality.
should say
So,
some of
the
it was
world is
planned, but not
badly
completely.
moving, badly
And we just
changing.
learned,
And
Sophia,
sometimes we'll not be
I
able
hope you're
to
listening to me,
understand or grasp this
that you
particular
have
change.
been now
But you have to
awarded
understand the
what is
world
going to be
changing.
the
World is
first
changing. World
Saudi
is changing.
citizenship
So this is
for
the
a
great
robot.
moment where the Saudi Arabian government offered the
Oh,
citizenship.
I would to thank very
Sophia,
much the
you
Kingdom
can
of
go to
Saudi
internet. That was in
Arabia.
2018.
I am very honored and
October,
proud
as
for
far as
this
I can
unique
remember. So from
distinction.
now there can
This
be
is
a lot
historical
of
to be the first
robots
robot in the
much
world to
more
be
advanced than
recognized with a
Sophia.
citizenship.
So for you to go and study what is happening, I mean,
Sophia.
anything and everything you work today, you have
Thank you
artificial
very much,
knowledge, artificial
Sophia.
brain.
We appreciate that very much.
With the instruments, the
am
computer,
still
the phone, and the applications
overwhelmed by that
you follow
conversation.
today, everywhere you have the artificially created brains inside. So from
Sophia.
that, let me talk to take you to a different side of the story. This is Mr. Abe. I really respect and one of few respectable politicians in my life, because I normally don't respect the politicians because I have a bad experience of politics in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka it's really bad. So I don't want to respect any politician, but I have few respected politicians in the world and in Sri Lanka as well from the history. So this is one of them with in this particular limited numbers. Abe, he was a former Prime Minister of Japan. I respect him for one big reason. He stepped down the positions when he realized that he can't. He doesn't have the power of taking the Japan to the next level. So he can still do, but he felt there can be better choices than him to take Japan forward. So he stepped down from there while he was in the power. It's not that he was chased out and he was planning to reappointed again. No, that was not his way. He left the office knowing he can't perform his duties because he was not fit enough. So that's why I respected. But that is not the reason for me to put this particular image. The reason was in 2018, I got the opportunity of visiting Japan. I was selected to visit that particular science and technology conference because I obtained the World Academy of Science award for science in 2017. So because of that, I was nominated to attend this particular conference. The idea is not the conference, but about the keynote. The keynote speaker for that particular conference, like me today, that was Abe. So Abe, I can easily call him Abe because he's not in Sri Lanka. But if I said the first name for one of Sri Lankan politicians, the next day I know what is going to happen to me. But still, I'm not scared because that's my way. So about this particular man, he was talking about a tractor for 1 hour and 30 minutes. His speech was 1 hour and 30 minutes, 19 minutes altogether. And he was talking about this tractor for 90 minutes. That was amazing. You may wonder what you can talk about a tractor for 90 minutes. The technology he was talking is not the tractor, but the artificial knowledge inside the tractor. This tractor can do the farming while keeping 1 inch distance between the tractor and communicating each other. The tractor can communicate each other, keeping 1 inch distance, can do the farming. Amazing. I was really amazed, and I was dreaming about this particular speech even in the night, because that was a fantastic presentation done by the Japanese Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister. So the next day, I had to leave Japan, and I was traveling from Tokyo to the airport in their subway, and that subway I met an interesting family. I took the photo, and without them notice what I'm doing, I took a snapshot. And don't ever misunderstand me. I didn't take the other image just because of this beautiful lady. That's a different story. She's beautiful. But the reason behind this image, let me explain why I took this particular image by taking such a big risk. Because taking a private image in Japan can end being in jail. But anyway, I was so fortunate to get the image without getting caught. So the reason for me to take this image, the mother, you can see, mother, the both hands, she's working with the mobile phone. The father, He's one hand he's working with the mobile phone, and the other hand holding the pram. I was with them for 1 hour and 10 minutes from the Tokyo to the airport. The most interesting part is the kid. Kid was looking the backside of the two phones, and he was making a hum noise, and was looking the backside of the two phones for 1 hour and 10 minutes. The previous day, the Japanese Prime Minister, the former Japanese Prime Minister, he was talking about artificially created two tractors, keeping 1 inch distance to communicating each other. Next day, very next day, there's a couple or a family touching each other, not a single word, not a single word. If you think this is the development, I'm sorry to say, we are developed much more than this. We are still at the developed stage than Japan. And I am sorry to say that I don't want to see this development coming to Sri Lanka crossing the Indian Ocean. So that is one side of the story for you to understand where are we and what we are doing. From that, there are a lot of things. I'm not going to explain any of the other points. You know them then and there, but let me take one big story telling image. This is China before the lockdown, and this is the same location after 14 days of lockdown. You can see what is the impact of human for decades or for ages, and what will be what the nature can do within a short period of time, 14 days. I don't know which image you are going to pick for you to live, but probably myself, I don't prefer any of them, because my life is at a different location. But still, you can see the difference what the nature can do and what the human can do for this particular beautiful world. So that itself will tell you the importance of working with sustainability and doing invention and innovation. Those are not the real challenges. You as engineers, young engineers who are planning for the next generation, you have a big demand for energy, big demand for food, and big demand for water. So those are the real challenges for you. None of the things I have showed on a computer yield marks, they are really, really real and happening somewhere. Even today, there will be something happening somewhere in some location of the world. So this is what we planned. We wanted to go with Sophia, artificial intelligence, but this is exactly what was happened in the history. Every step we put forward with the development, we have destroyed the nature. So it's high time for us to turn back. If not, definitely we have to end like what you can see at the bottom image. So we have to take a serious decision today, these days. Otherwise, we are going to end up with a real disaster. Interesting cartoon from the sun. I mean, your generation, a person talking with the sun, and he talks to the sun and says, please go to your settings, please go to your display, reduce the brightness, it's really hot, I can't live anymore. The sun replies and say, sorry, I haven't done any changes to my settings. Please go to your settings, you increase the number of trees, you reduce the concrete jungles, and so and so. And finally the sun says, very important and interesting message, sorry to say, you are in the auto mode, please switch to the human mode from the auto mode. So you are automated, you are not a human anymore. Please shift to the human mode from auto mode. So there's a big message for you to get as engineers, because you are the people, as I always repeat, you are the people who steer the world for the next generation, not the politicians, not anybody else. You have the responsibility to steer the country, steer the world to the next level. So when I see that's very simple statement, but has millions of ideas for you to take. You need to be with a solid foundation, then only you can think of the development. If you forget your foundation, that will be the end of the story. So about the inventions, I mean, there are a lot of inventions happening in the world, but sadly, I mean, many of the inventions are not really inventions, they are disruptions to the world. So it's high time for you to understand what exactly you need to do and what exactly you have to promote to become a real human. So from the incremental to radical to sustaining to, for whatever the type, there is a huge market available, huge need in the market for you to try. And beyond that, because we are with the industry 5.0, starting from industry 1, biggest revolutions thanks to water and steam, and then we were just passing the digital era. We were just passing, but and we lost the train once again. As Sri Lanka, we thought that we'll be able to capture the industry, the world industry, and the digital era, but unfortunately we miss it. But I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and I'm so happy that industry 5.0, where the humans are again coming to the picture. We have a bigger role and we have a bigger say there, because we have the base, well set base in the country. So if we plan properly, I'm very sure we can be a successful country within the world at industry 5.0. Please note that we lost the digital era, and we have already passed the digital era like the other 1, 2, 3 and 3.5 eras of the world industry revolution. Those all gone. We just passed the digital era, and we are moving to the industry 5.0, where the human factor. We talked about the technical innovations, and we talked about we now talked about the social innovations, where the social factor and the human factor is a must. So we have a big role to play, and we have a big chance to win the world at industry 5.0, because we realize many of the revolutions happened in the world were not really sustainable, and that's why people have moved to the next revolution, industry 5.0. So you have a big role as engineers who always gear the world. You have a big role to play within this particular era, right? Then I'm moving to the most interesting part of the research. That's about myself. This is me. When I say me, I mean it's not. I'm not really. I'm not a person who always get baths. I mean, I'm not a person who always captured to other political stuff. I'm a very independent guy, but that is not the meaning of this particular image. So the meaning is, if anybody asks me to elaborate who's Rangika, Rangika is a person who always try to find solution for natural the problems in a natural or a near natural way. When the people were looking and busy with their mobile phones and the IT devices, I was freely moving with the nature. It was like this. I mean, it was, if I just elaborate that with a small video. This is beat. I get the natural noise and give the artificial beat, and the mix will create a beautiful song. So that is what I was doing. I'm not a singer, I'm not a musician, but in my life, this is exactly I was doing. I mean, throughout my research career. So with that, if I tell you how or what rather changed my life, I could say my life was changed by the Vesper bee, the Run Kubala. If you closely observe, I'm very sure you may have seen many times the Run Kubala, the Vesper bee, is making nest in buildings in your house. But you, I don't know whether you have really studied or really did a research on this particular creature. He mixed the clay with water and saliva and create a thin shell for the next generation. And when the next generation leaves the home, this again goes back to the nature. So that is the Vesper bees, the history, and that helped me to start my research career in a different way. And like this Vesper bee story, I mean the below 3 images which I have showed, I mean those are the most comfortable houses I have ever visited in my life, not the 5-star, 7-star hotels. These houses, you have the natural beauty, you have the natural comfort, and amazing comfort inside the building. I don't know how many of you have that particular experience in these houses, but they are really amazing structures. I have another 10-15 minutes. Let me go with the slides in a slow way. So that was my starting point, and then and not really me actually. It's a team working together. So we were developing the clay into different stages. You can see this bird. It's slightly different to the Vesper bee. So the Vesper bee was mixing the clay with saliva and making the nest, and he's making a stronger nest than the Vesper bee, and he created the nest with the clay, same material, with high water content, same way, but he mixed fiber, natural fiber, and make a strong nest. And that triggered me or inspired me to do work on these natural fibers. And I'm a person who works with circular economy than linear economy. So I always love to work with industrial labs industrial waste, and also the natural resins and natural polymers, like starting from Daul Kurundu to big list of the material. And finally, we managed to get secure 3-4 patents for clay on clay developments. And this is, I mean, once you do, your satisfaction is, I mean, making that commercialize, taking into the commercial level. So, yeah, I have put a few images. I said I'm not, I really don't owe to this particular country, because I was fed by the poor of this country. So the soon I get my first patent, I started building houses for these poor people, especially these north and east communities who lost their houses. So I was starting working with them. And one can say these are all low-cost construction. No, I mean, we develop the same for luxury buildings. You can see some of them in your right-hand side. But the most important and interesting fact is, this is not a single person work. It's a full team working together. We have architects, we have agri-technologists, civil engineers. So we all work as a team, single team, a lot of different disciplines, put them all together, and finally created the stuff. This is about the buildings, the structural work. But then the finishes, where then comes to the finishes. Again, the termite nest, I mean, that is the best naturally ventilated structure, where you have the convert inside. So that inspired me to create a passive air conditioning system with soil. So we were working as a team, and we managed to secure the intellectual property. We created a natural system, very much similar to air condition, passive active air conditioning system. So that again, it's I mean, with an IP. So and then I will move to the another interesting location in Sri Lanka. I have shown this particular image before as well. This is Sigiriya, and the most touching point is this Katapat powder, where you still can see the structure. I mean, intact. The idea, the Katapat powder. The idea is when the King Kashyapa walks along the Katapat powder, this side he has the stone with beautiful paintings, and he wanted to get the same reflection onto his left hand side as well. So he created a wall, and with natural material he got this particular smooth finish, where he can get the same the reflection of the painting to his left hand side. Still you can see the beautiful shine in this mirror wall. So that I wanted to record the same history. We started working with lot of natural materials. Once again, the clay, this is actually not a normal clay, it's a waste from the water treatment process. You know that once you add the alum, you will get the spongy type clay, and it will be solid once it get dried, and you will not be able to use that for anything, and it's a waste, and it's a huge problem in Sri Lanka. So we got this alum water sludge, and we developed the material with natural and artificial resins, and finally we managed to get the same finish which is there at the Katapat powder, and you can see the video down there. So starting from a waste, and this is again interesting research on flooring, and we converted the soil to a beautiful flooring. You can see the top video is about the flooring inside, and the bottom image is the flooring outside, mainly the paving material, again out of soil, a slight modification to the soil with some chemical additions, and finally we can create. You can see the beauty of the flow. The top video that is inside, and the outside. I mean, these days we were very much talking about these pedestrian walkways and jogging tracks. So even with jogging tracks, if anybody wants to be sustainable and nature friendly, we have a solution here. It's a soil based paving material, and you can get the same finish, same strength, and the same appearance, but it's the nature friendly material, because once this break, that will again go back to the nature, like the West Kobe does. So from there, we wanted to change the structural forms. I mean, we wanted to reduce the use of steel reinforcement, and we wanted to see whether we can use clay as a structural element and do slabs without reinforcement. So we were studying about these triple curve structures, finite element simulations, and finally we managed to create structures without reinforcement, which can be used as slabs and go for high-rise buildings, 100% clay, 100% clay. So once again, I mean, we came up with a lot of materials, a lot of structures, but it's a team working together, not only the engineers. You can see once you combine different professional people together, the final output will be really amazing. So that is what we have done with a team of different professional people from with different fields. So then well, let me move to a different topic that is about timber. Timber, I mean, you know the history of the timber from King Parakrambau, the 7-story palace. He used timber for the slabs. And you know, I'm very sure you know about this Ambaki Devale, where you have used an enormous amount of timber. It's a world famous location. Then I don't know whether you are aware of the Saman Devale in Ratnapura that has a history of more than 700 years. They have also used timber. This particular the story was triggered when I was traveling passing Ratnapura one day. I saw the Saman Devale was under renovation. I wanted to go and see the structure. That was an accident. So I went inside and I found they have removed the whole roof. And I saw some of these old timber lying on the floor, and they said they are not going to use them. So I asked the head boss, the boss, can I get a piece of this particular timber? And he got the chainsaw, cut the piece, and gave to me. That is what you can see from your left-hand side. So this timber inspired me to, or rather geared me to do a big research in a new area that's on timber preservation. So we started working on Tampita Viharas. We started working on the Ambalams, the living examples of the timber structures from the history. We started studying about the form, the texture, to the color, to the line and the grain. So we studied about the timber, and finally, I mean, you know how the timber deterioration happens in Sri Lanka, even with the available timber treatment techniques. And you know, those will last more than 10. I mean, those will last about 10-15 years. Nothing beyond that. They will decay or rather attacked by termites, and the mold growth will be there. So, but the structures which are shown before, they were never attacked by termites. They were never attacked by mold growth. So I want to decode the same technology which was used in the past. So we started studying these structures to understand what are the chemicals inside the nano level chemicals which is inside the timber, which has leached into the timber from the ancient structures. So we got the timber and we tested them, and we found, and we interviewed these old people who have never even gone to a school, but they have practiced these things with the experience they had with their fathers and co-fathers. So they were practicing. So we decoded the history from the living samples to the experience shared by these old people, who respectable old people. And finally, we managed to get some leaf extract and created a timber treatment techniques which can settle the termite issue and the mold growth. So the team is once again amazing, and this product is a nano treatment technique from the leaf extract, and 100% natural base. So the team is interesting. Team started from actually I was studying about the ancient structures. I'm not an archaeologist, so I more than I go and study about the archaeology, I got down my good friend Raj, and he came as an archaeologist. So it's a big team, and finally I managed to get a designer from University of Moratua, and she's not an engineer. She's not a any related with any relation with the chemistry. He was a furniture designer, and I handpicked the student because she knew each and every step of timber, the need of timber. She has not done, she not have eaten the timber, but she knows each and every bit of timber. So this is my team, and finally we ended up with creating a beautiful pair of the protected, intellectually protected timber treatment techniques from natural leaf extracts. So this is another interesting project happening in my small lab at the University of Halwathura. You may wonder, how these the different disciplines, different areas is linked together. Yes, we have a good team working with me. We have more than 30 research students working with me in my small lab. So this is about the coastal structures. I was talking about the above ground structures or above the water table, but this is below water, below the water table structures. We know very recently also we had a few incidents where the coral was damaged due to man-made activities. So we wanted to create structures, marine structures, where we can replant the corals. So that again we are working as a team. So we started with computer simulations, and finally we launched the project in 2 years ago. We launched these structures, and all these structures are again out of waste materials, and we converted the waste material to useful designs, and we put them in the sea, and we started monitoring these structures to see whether there's any sort of a natural growth, and also whether these structures are friendly with the natural activities. You can see we have planted corals. At the same time, you can see some of the corals are naturally grown there, right? Not only the planted corals, there are natural growth of corals in the structures we have created. This is only 1.5 years. So that was a success behind the project we have started. You can see the before deployment and after deployment. You can see a drastic change, and more than the most interesting part is the wildlife started accepting the artificially created structures, because they started living there. Because normally the wildlife doesn't want to live and generate their next start breeding inside if it is artificial space, especially in a natural environment like the coastal line. But we found the animals started living inside, and those are not you will not be able to test these things inside the lab. You need to go and work in the real field, diving inside and getting the real experience. So this is another interesting project happening with my leadership, and it's again not a single person activity, it's a team working together. So finally we managed to get this work done. So that's about all the project which is happening within my lab, and with the collaboration of the institutes and people from Sri Lankan institutes. And beyond that, if you really, there are a lot of projects which are happening with collaboratively with other universities and other countries. So if you want to be an internationally recognized guy, and if you want to share your experience internationally, you definitely have to work with these projects like this as well. So the message is, you need to understand where you are and what you know. If you can understand what you know and what you don't know, you can easily plan your life. If you don't know what you don't know, and if you think you know everything, you will end with a real hell. You will not be able to make the success. If you plan a mission, if you set a vision, always you need to understand your weaknesses and the strengths. So if you can understand your strength and the weaknesses in your life, personally, professionally, then you can easily pull off you can create your pool, and you can plan a mission to achieve your vision. So that is what I have done in my life. And you may have seen me as a successful person, but behind me there are a lot of failures. But the failures is not the real failure. Try until you get until become success. If you start believing yourself, one day you can definitely be success. So the failures is a real success of anybody. If you have not failed in your life, you can't claim you as a successful person, because I have failed enough and enough. That's why I'm saying failure is the starting point of your success story. So don't be worried. Don't worry about your failure. Fail. One day you can become a successful person in your personal life and the professional life as well. Let me take another interesting slide from the world history. This is Okinawa beach. That was in 2014. They found the Okinawa beach. They lost the coral. They started planting corals in 2014, and today it's a thick coral jungle. If you start something with the right direction, right, the right team, with the right goal and with the right team at the right time, you can become a successful person. More than everything, what I have showed as my success, this is a real success. This is one family which have built a house who doesn't have anybody in the country, who lost everything due to the who happened in north and northeast. This smile brought me to this particular point. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable and interesting speech. I kindly invite Engineer Amit Disanayake to give the token of appreciation for today's keynote speaker, Professor Rangika Halwathura.
Yes, thank you, Vishaka. Professor Rangika Halwathura, sir, we are grateful to you for accepting the invitation of YMS and delivering the keynote speech in YMS Technical Conference 2021. For me, it was very interesting. I think that is same for the entire audience. There was a massive crowd, around 250. Until end of your presentation, the entire crowd, no one left the meeting, right? That is the evidence of your, that is very, very nice, very wonderful and interesting topic. When I invite you as the keynote speaker through Professor Udayanga Mpala, I got to know that you have accepted our invitation without any hesitation. I think you that is for the respect of the young crowd, I think, right? At the beginning, you explained something about the young crowd and you gave a message. All in all, it was nice. Professor Rangika Halwathura, sir, since we are in a virtual platform, we are not in a give the add token our token of appreciation in physical mode, but please accept our token of appreciation in the virtual way, right? Yeah, token of appreciation for Professor Rangika Halwathura, Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa, for being the keynote speaker in YMS Technical Conference 2021, organized by Young Members Section of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka on 9th October 2021. Thank you, sir, again.